Hello, everyone. X-Wall-Kill Bethelite here. And I about forgot about the damn Jehovah's Witnesses. I kind of like it how it's been, where you don't see them all over the place with carts and whatnot. Not knocking on people's doors, not really doing nothing. Your relatives aren't necessarily going to meetings and whatnot. It's not constantly reminding you of Watchtower. So there's a good thing about that for both us and Watchtower, in that if Watchtower doesn't stir up the bee's nest, so to speak, as much, then you got less people talking about them and what's going on with them, and they can kind of fly under the radar a little bit more. Watchtower is going to have to fly under the radar because they've already been exposed. We already know what's up. We know what's going on at Watchtower. We know never in Watchtower's history have people known as much about Watchtower as we do now. As much about Jehovah's Witnesses as we do now. Back in the day, we didn't know anything that was going on. People didn't know anything really that was going on at Bethel other than what Watchtower showed them on video and what Watchtower showed off on the tours. People didn't know anything. Now we know what's going on with the child sex abuse and Watchtower not really being all that proactive about putting a stop to it. We know what's going on with the false teachings, the false predictions. We know what's up. So the only thing that they can do now that every time they pop out, one of us calls them out, is to stay on the low. And that's kind of what they've been doing. And that's kind of why sometimes I forget all about them damn Jehovah's Witnesses. You know what I mean? And I know when I used to be one, I used to hate when people call us Jehovah Witness. Jehovah Witness. I be forgetting all about them Jehovah Witness. If they hear me say that, they gonna think, oh, he ain't never been one. Because we used to hate when people say, it's Jehovah's Witness. It ain't no Jehovah Witness. But really, it's a good thing that Watchtower kind of is under the radar right now, to a certain extent. I heard they did something with some young girl, and there's some kind of a video or audio of her being assaulted and making her listen to it and just mentally scarring some young girl. I mean, other than what is coming out about Watchtower, as much hasn't been happening with them staying their behinds in the house, getting together over these little laptops or tablets or whatever, these Zoom meetings. It's keeping them under the radar to a certain extent, but here's the problem with that. Watchtower flying under the radar for so long because other people are going back to church. I mean, without a lockdown, people are going back to doing what they normally do, except for with the masks, with the social distancing, and with all the hand sanitizer and things like that. I mean, people are taking precautions. We got our masks and whatnot, but we still are going about doing our daily business. There's no real excuse for Watchtower to have not had people put on masks, distance themselves from these doors, away from people, and still knock and try to hand out magazines. Why isn't that a focal point? Why isn't that even seemingly important to Watchtower? They get together and they write letters, and they send out letters with magazines and tracts and things inside of it, but everybody knows that that's not effective. That's not effective. You ain't gonna send somebody a freaking tract in their mailbox and start bringing in a bunch of people. Watchtower is doing just enough to keep people busy because the focus is on keeping the people that they have. That's what the focus is on. So Watchtower again is telling on itself by not having people come back to the Kingdom Hall. That's not urgent to have people come back to the Kingdom Hall. This global world all important preaching work ain't all that all important, because they are not trying to get people out even standing next to carts. Like in situations where it seems like it's as safe as could be given the situation, why isn't Watchtower pushing that? Well, some people may be of the impression that this is going to be permanent, where Watchtower is just, they're going to be selling off buildings. They're going to be making as much profit and money as possible and trying to just go online, is what some people may be thinking. And there could be some legitimacy to that. But what I'm talking about here is not so much Watchtower selling properties, but Watchtower not focusing on the preaching work, the door-to-door work, or even standing next to carts for so long, and not trying to get people back to the Kingdom Hall so that they can organize that type of thing in so long, because Watchtower knows it's not effective. I'm not talking about them selling off Kingdom Halls. I'm talking about they're not trying to focus on this preaching work, knocking on doors and whatnot, and they're doing little things just to keep people busy, like writing letters and having them text people and whatnot, because Watchtower knows they haven't been bringing nobody in anyway. They haven't been bringing in a bunch of people through this door-to-door work. It's not working. There is no great global preaching work anymore. It's over, not necessarily because everybody is just so knowledgeable about Watchtower and they've completed their work, so much as it's not effective. Anybody can go online and find out all about Watchtower's false predictions, and they're exposed. The preaching work don't work no more. That's one of the reasons why they could be selling off Kingdom Halls. I don't know. But they also are doing this because there's no reason to have urgency. There's no reason to urgently get people back at the Kingdom Hall so that they can organize these territories, so that they can go out into these territories and start knocking on doors, because they ain't getting nobody anyway. This preaching work is over because it don't work. It's not over because they have just completed it and everybody knows about Jehovah's Witnesses. I forget about them now that I don't see them out no more. But Watchtower is telling on themselves. Watchtower is telling on themselves again. It has been a long time and people haven't been to meetings. And here's the thing. Watchtower or Jehovah's Witnesses, probably more so than anybody, could just social distance at meetings and wear masks because they don't hardly have nobody in there to begin with. Before COVID-19 was ever a thing, years ago, Watchtower was already social distancing at the Kingdom Hall. You see one person sitting in a seat, then you see 3 seats, and then you see another person, then you see 2 rows back, then another person. They were social distancing, not because of COVID, just because there ain't that many people in the hall. This has been a thing for the longest time. So now, with COVID-19 hitting, people just see the reality. It ain't no hurry to get people back because A, there ain't that many people in them halls anyway for a lot of these places. And B, you ain't getting nobody filling these halls up. These halls aren't getting filled up by y'all knocking on doors and standing next to carts with magazines. They don't work. COVID-19 just gave Watchtower an excuse to just get away from stuff that just don't work anyway. So you guys comment down below. Let me know what you think. 937-789-4029. Watchtower is not urgently trying to get back to this preaching work because the preaching work is not urgent. It's not filling the kingdom halls. They're not urgently trying to get people back into these halls because you ain't got that many people in the hall anyway. And if you can make money just having people do Zoom meetings, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? You're bringing in the same amount of money. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. X-Wall Kill Bethelite signing out.